How has childbirth and motherhood changed your yoga practice?
It has taken it from primarily a physical practice to a more, it's not even meditation. I think it's I think it is meditation, more about pranayama and being in the moment. Breath has really been perhaps the key aspect to me being able to navigate being a mama. And also the ability to be in the moment. It's sort of like you just have to, that's my practice, not to think that I have to go anywhere else. Because the moment that I think, oh my God, I have to call, X, Y, and Z, I have to email so-and-so, I have to make the dinner, and why can't you go to sleep? The minute that I go into the have to do, things get really crazy. And the moment I literally just have to stay present moment to moment and plan, but do my best to simply be present to them because they read my energy. And that was something that they're so in tune with me that that becomes the most challenging part. Also to be able to have the space to have emotions, I think has been a really big challenge for me because there's sometimes when I just want to be mad. I want to be sad. And it's not like I'm losing it. I just need that expression. And they just can't deal with that. But mommy, and then I have to sort of mask my emotions instead of being able to process them because they're not able to at this moment, I guess, deal with it. And I've been trying to teach my 4-year-old that mommies also have feelings and I'll be okay. I just need to cry a little bit or, so that she recognizes that. I think that's been a big challenge because I've never been one to mask the way I feel. And now I feel like I have to be like happy all the time because they'll get worried about me. Mm-hmm. That's been tough. So that is also part of my challenge of my practice, to be able to be present to them and to be honest with myself as I move through motherhood. But I do a lot more hip openers, a ton more hip openers. That's basically what I do. Hip openers, my hips, my legs need lots of love. My shoulders, not so much. I tend to have a pretty strong upper body, so in terms of back bends, it's not as much. But thigh stretches and hip openers, I'm dying for. Do a lot of walking and pushing strollers, so I get a lot of my. Also, I have a lot of time to think when I'm pushing and walking a lot. So that's basically another form of practice, if you will. Mm-hmm. Do crave a more substantial strengthening practice in terms of asana as well, but I haven't had the opportunity to be able to sustain a practice that will, build upon each other. It's like I finally get like an hour practice, yay! And then it's like 3 months later. Great.
Every time I get a full practice in my head, I'm like, oh, this can be great next week when I've done 7 days in a row. And then the day's over and it's like 7 days later, but for the first time.
Absolutely. It's so funny because I feel that I think that's the beauty of yoga too, because it gives you that hit and you're like, oh my God, this is so great. I love it. This is like power. I want to do it all the time. And it's just not. Yeah.
I have so many pictures of myself doing yoga and then my daughter dogpiling on me in some way, shape, or form. There's a lot of letting go of what actually is practice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you kind of covered this a little bit, but maybe, I don't know if you have anything else to say, like what surprised you most about the postpartum period or what you wish someone would have prepared you for or could have prepared you for to make it a smoother transition?
I think for me, a support system was very key. And it's not necessarily that a support system for like putting it or getting it set, but I think it was a mindset for me. I've always been very independent and I wanted to do things myself and I'm strong and I have done all these wonderful things all by myself. But allowing myself to stay open to receive help and not feeling like I was less than because I needed it. I think that was a huge mindset because people were very kind and very open to helping me out. And I just refused. A lot of the time I was like, no, I can do it. I can do it. No, I don't need it. I'm fine. And if I would have just stayed open to receive some of these changes, it would have been so wonderful for me to learn so much more about myself. And I finally did it with the second one. I was a little bit more open, but I still could have done a lot better. I think that that's something that was really big for me. And the other thing was just, you really do have to let go into whatever happens, no matter what happens, and to own yourself. There's so much advice out there that it could be a little bit overwhelming. And I see this also anytime that you're seeking to find better health or to take yourself to the next level in terms of being a healthier person, a more in tune person, a more refined person, somebody who resonates with like really great goodness. We tend to, I think, at least for myself, to learn so much and that you stay here a lot of the time and you receive so much information that you lose how to attune yourself to what really is important for you. So I kind of lost myself in a sea of knowledge at times. So my advice is also to strengthen your ability to attune to the things that resonate with you. Do not let everything in, because not everything needs to be let in. There's too many people have different opinions, and it's not that they're wrong, it's just that you have to choose, and you have to be very steady about what you choose to believe or attune to yourself to, yet stay open. So it's a little bit tough. I was more able to do that the second time around than the first time. I was a little scared. The first time around, I was scared. Oh my God. Everything touched. Oh my God, she's going to be, everything I did. I put something on my skin. Oh my God, that was so a birth defect. And then, well, the second time I was like, whatever. So,
still deal with it. I know. The first time around is like, I think one thing is I felt like I just kept projecting so far into the future. Like I had difficulty breastfeeding, and then all of a sudden I'm like, am I giving her an eating disorder? Is she going to have trouble attachment when she's older because she's always going to want to eat because she's not getting enough? Instead of just, oh, it's a low milk supply and we'll get through this. But no, it was like it had to extend far beyond childhood to adulthood, and like how neurotic she was going to be because of that moment.
Oh, and in the same rate, this is something that I wanted to share too. Time will change things. That was like a huge lesson, because with my first one, I honestly thought it was never going to end with the breastfeeding and sleeping through the night, because she breastfed till she was 33 months old. But there was a time in between where it was constant, and it was every time I was sleeping, I didn't sleep. It was so hard to wean her. It was so hard, and I really thought I was going to die. I thought this was going to end. I had a little mini breakdown. I really had to reach out to my teachers and be like, I don't know if I can do this. Because everything in me was freaking out, and then it stopped. So there's a point when you hit in your head and you're like, this is never going to change. It's always like this. I'm never going to, and you get to that place and then it stops. So I've learned with the second one, there's an end. It will change. It's going to change. And so I'm so okay with being in those moments now, because I know that there's a change. So I'm all right navigating in the moment in a much better way, because before I didn't know it was coming. Now I know, wow, it's going to change. It'll be okay. This is just a phase. It literally is just a phase. So that was huge for me.
That's really wise. How has your relationship to your body changed since you become a mom?
It's the same, but I'm cutting myself a little bit more slack. And it is different, because the first time I didn't experience too much of a difference, because like I said, I didn't go through labor. I never had any of the hormones come out. I never had all the extra stuff that happens. I was recovering from surgery basically, because that's what I had. And that was fine for whatever reason. I'm a really quick healer. and I don't experience pain. That's what, well, not experience pain, but I was told that I have a very high pain tolerance by quite a few people, especially with the second one. So I assume that that's the case. Because I never used any medication after my C-section either, other than like Tylenol a little bit. But the second time with the opening, like I feel like I haven't closed up yet. Like when I put my legs out wide, I still feel a little bit of a tugging in between in my pelvis. Like it feels like I'm still apart. Mm-hmm. So I'm still trying to bring myself back together. I don't feel like my lower body is, pulled together yet. I still need to work more at stabilizing myself. I can't move as fast when I practice. I have to be very careful to pull myself to the middle. And I did have, after I had my second one, I really tweaked my back. Like I've never been in that much pain before. And it was totally like I had rep, right after the hormones start to shift, right after you have your baby. And I don't even know how I did it because I never did anything weird. I think I was just putting May on the changing table, and I guess I did it, I twisted somehow and I pulled. I believe it was somewhere around the SI, and it became totally inflamed, my entire back. Thank God my mom was here, because this was like about 3 weeks after she was born. I couldn't get up. It took me 20 minutes to get up out of bed. I had to pull myself, like I was in so much pain. I had to turn around like this. I've never had that experience before. I went to the chiropractor and I had to put stuff on there. He really was so wonderful with me. And it was all swollen up. So it took about a week to feel better. But I couldn't lift her up. I couldn't lift my baby up at all because it hurt. Like I couldn't put enough pressure on my foot. I couldn't, when I sat up, I had to pull myself up. I couldn't push down in my legs. Mm-hmm. So I learned a lot from that as well, which is what brings me back to the breath, because I couldn't do any of the therapeutics that I know, any of the therapeutics that I use with my clients. Every principle that I had learned of how to put everything back together, because I'm skilled in that level as well, and I've always been able to get myself out of pain, shoulder pain, wrist pain, back pain, whatever. I was always able to go like, okay, I just do these things, practice like this. And I could barely put my feet on the floor. I could barely lift my toes up. So having to be in pain and breathe in that pain took my practice to a whole new level. And it gave me a deeper emphasis and empathy for my clients that are in pain, because it gave me an understanding of the level of what they're going through and the simple things that you can do to get yourself to a place of being okay. Instead, you have to do these poses. It's all about here, and it's about your breath and the heart. So that's been huge.
And right now, how are you feeling?
I feel pretty strong, except I feel very tight. I want to move more. I need to sweat more. I feel like I need to, because the seasons have changed here as well. It's getting very cold. Mm-hmm. So I feel dried up. Uh-huh. So I need moisture and heat to move through my body. And so I've been craving that a lot. But I feel strong. I just feel like I need more of that. Even if it's more physical, even if it's more like a real brisk walk where I'm sweating. Like I need to sweat and get more open in my body. I just feel really compact and dry. But I think that's not necessarily due to birth or mother. I think it's just that I just haven't been able to get myself, where I need to be at some point. Yep.
Yeah. Well, we have all these expectations about how long things are going to take, and I just wrote about an article, one of my yoga teachers, when I asked her, so, how long is this going to take? And I was thinking, some people say, you have your 6-week doctor visit, and then like 3 months is the fourth trimester, and then stop breastfeeding. Okay, that's around 2 years or something. And she was like 10 years. And I was like, okay. In a way, it was good news, but in a way, it was bad news. It was like, okay, that's great because that gives permission and also respect to the depth of the process that this is. I mean, we just brought a new life into the world. That shouldn't be like something that you recover from one day to the next. But it also just let me know about all the layers of the body. That it's a shift in all of the koshas and all of our systems. It is transference of energy. So to have a reorganization and a realignment takes a while.
I agree. I think that was the biggest thing because that's how I feel. I feel like I'm not in a position. It's sort of this wonderful give and take. Like you need to literally step back and to not grasp your practice, but let the practice come to you. And it really has opened it up for me a lot more, the opportunity to move. I don't feel my body is where it needs to be. I mean, it might look like it, and people say like, oh my God, you just had a baby. Well, and I didn't just have a baby, but it's not the same, even on the inside. Like it just doesn't feel the same. The way that I teach is different. The way that I speak is different. The way that I feel is different. And what I want to eat is different. I still have another child. I've been breastfeeding for 4 years straight. That's a lot. I don't even know what that's like. My boobs are no longer any kind of a sexual organ whatsoever. Please don't touch my boobs. I have somebody slap my boobs almost all the time. So it's like, how can I reconnect with that? I started to do my nails again. That was huge. To just like have colors on my fingernails and to brush my hair in a way that I feel like really nice, or to put a little bit of extra makeup on, or to really actually think about the outfit that I'm going to put on. I put jewelry on. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. So I'm starting to become me again, like woman me, and want to put that out into the world because for 4 years I've just been like, I'll just same clothes again. It's like a week of the same clothes. I barely take a shower. I'm just trying to put my hair back. I hope to God I don't look like I just rolled out of bed. I just haven't had the opportunity. And I was so into like the fashion and the this and this looking cute, and it just is not going to happen. It just, I had to let it all go. And now I'm finally starting to have a relationship with that self-love of even just putting lotion on my body, putting something nice to smell, choosing something pretty as opposed to because it's really comfortable to wear, stuff like that. So I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And now it's just so sad because I just keep thinking, I just don't want another one. I just don't want another one. I like this too much. Get away from me. To my other half. Don't touch me. Don't look at me. I don't want to all of a sudden conceive.
I can understand that.
But it's just so nice to come back to myself. And it's been 4 years, so it's been a long time.
I feel like you deserve some kind of an award for 4 years of continuous breastfeeding.
We should have an award for that. Oh my God.
Something. I don't know. I'm trying to conjure up what it is. It should be like a year of chocolate after you finish or something like that.
I'd be happy just getting my hormones back, because I keep thinking, because it still affects everything, because it's still part of the process. So I'm wondering what will happen with my body once it's done. Like, I don't know what it's going to feel like, so yeah.
Do you have any other things that you'd like to share that you feel like you learned only through the process that you could learn that no one really told you, or that you'd like new moms to know?
I think that to take your time. I mean, everything in the article that I read that you wrote was so fantastic because you don't get an answer that fits you specifically. So even if, just like you said, like, when is it going to end? We want to know that. When am I going to feel better? When is it going to be finished? Like, when can I start doing A, B, and C, and D that I used to do? The real answer is that you won't. It's not going to be like that anymore. So being okay with staying open to follow your own rhythms, it's so important. And for us to have the courage to align with what feels good to us is also very important. And that includes letting go of things like a practice or whatever you're used to doing. You don't need to do, you know, I don't know, a 1 minute or 2 minute handstand to get X. You don't need to do back bends on Tuesdays and Thursdays the way you used to get Y. You don't need any of that anymore. When you're a mama, you have to basically deal with what you have, and that's the path of a warrior mama. You have to deal with what you have. You know, sometimes you're going to feel like crap. Sometimes you won't be able to breathe. Sometimes you won't be able to have the food that you need to have. And you simply have to let yourself be there. It'll change and make a better choice next time. It's the babies are now the most important part. And it's really, really tough because it's not about saying no to yourself. It's just staying open to offer a lot more so that when you do that fully, you're then able to nurture yourself at the same time because you're teaching both at the same time.